Thank you. It was really inspiring to hear the other presentations today and yesterday, and I have learned a lot. So I hope I can give something back with my presentation. So I work for the Finnish Innovation Fund, and we are doing a lot of interesting activities. Today, I will tell you about 3 different topics. So first of all, regarding the Finnish model, how do we do regarding health data in Finland, and secondly, I will give you some European perspective. What's the European health data space that the European Commission and European health policies are discussing at the moment quite a lot. And finally, I will conclude with some words regarding the future of health data and how the health data will be more personalized and more person generated. But before I start, I want to go back to the Danish model that was presented earlier, and I think it was very good. And I think in many countries we need to sort of have a comprehensive way of thinking about health data, and the health data strategy that Denmark had was very good. So I think that's one of the one thing that everybody should take away today, to see where their country is going as a nationally, and then what we should do in the European wide. So that's why I want to start with what we have done in Finland. And one of the things that we done, I think, good in Finland is that we have had this kind of similar strategy that the Denmark has for quite a long time now. I think the last 3 governments have built health data or health growth strategy that combines multiple ministries in Finland and other organizations like financial institutions to think how the health data should be managed and how the health sector could grow in Finland. Now, one of the outcome of that work is what we call Act on the Secondary Use of Health and Social Data. And within that act, a establishment of a health and social data permit authority. A few slides about what is that outcome of this one action from the strategy. So for a long time we have had, of course, a primary use and electronic health records, and that is collected to the national registers. By secondary use, we mean all the use cases that we can do. We can use the health data for the secondary purposes. In our Act on the Secondary Use of Social and Health data, we mean scientific research, statistic, development and innovation, teaching, knowledge-based management, and steering activities. Now, before the Act, this was the case in Finland. If you wanted to reuse the data from any register in Finland, you need to send a separate permit request for that controller of the data, so the register keeper. After our Act on the law and the establishment of a new actor called FinData, you only need to file the permits to one authority that then collects the data for you if you get the permission and put it in self-environment for your research or secondary use purposes. So this has streamlined the permission processes and data gathering, as well as pseudonymization and other activities that need to be done with the data a lot. And this is a very good outcome of the common strategy that we had in Finland. There are a lot of other activities that we have done. That's just one example. And I wanted to give the example because it's an outcome of the strategy work that has been done in Finland within the last decade. There is research this year regarding different countries in Europe, how they place regarding the personalized health, and Finland came first. Now, the FinData is probably one reason of that. There's many others, and I don't say that Finland is best in everything regarding the health data. For example, yesterday we heard about the German the model for approving health applications and reimbursement schemes. They are ahead in that. So I think that's something that we should also look in Finland. How could we do better in that? Why I took Finland as an example for my presentation regarding the European health data space is that I think that each country, as I said, that we need to look how we can improve in our member state, in our country regarding the health data. But that's not enough. we are small countries in Europe if you compare to US or China or others. We compete as a whole. So in order to Europe to strive, we need to find a common way forward. And this is now becoming more evident with the COVID crisis. I think if you have followed the European data discussion and the data strategy discussion going on this year with the new commission, the data is coming a key in a lot of different activities, not only in health. And in the beginning of this year, in February, the European Commission published what they call data strategy. This is an overview picture of that strategy. And as you can see, health is being one sector where the data is being where the data spaces are being built. There are many others, and one of the things that also I want you to take home with is what we also discussed yesterday, that we need to learn from other sectors, and we also need to understand what we need to do together and not separately on health sector only. For example, identification is something that we can totally share with, for example, finance sector or other sectors. We don't need to build specific identification schemes for health only. There are a lot of other examples, and I think some of the sort of original sin that we also always drop in health is that we only think health specifically. I mean, look elsewhere. A lot of good solutions and answers outside the health sector. But of course, we need to also think health specific. And one of the things that is being spoken and done health specifically is exactly this European health data space. And the urgency for that, of course, this year is coming more and more evident. I have 3 examples in this slide that describe the European health data space. The first one is from September from the President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, speaking about how we need to build the health data space for universities, companies, and researchers to collaborate on data. That followed the European Council discussions and the conclusions from the member states. So all the head of states were there, and they concluded the European health data space should be a priority on data and should be set up by the end of next year. A few weeks after that, the European Commission then put it on the work program. So we're looking for a legislative act on the European health data space by the end of next year. But even before that, something happens, and this is very inspiring for us in the Finnish Innovation Fund. Of course, early next year, a joint action towards the European health data space called TEHDAS will start, and Sitra, so my organization, will be the coordinator of this activity. It will last 30 months, and the main outcomes of this joint action are options for the European Commission for the legal proposals, as well as member states to then decide that on the Council. We will provide options on 4 main themes: governance, data quality, infrastructure, and then on the citizens' role. So, for example, data altruism practices and so on. How do they work in the European health data space? So, a lot of interesting stuff happening in the European-wide on a European health data space in the years to come. So, I want to conclude with this. So, what do we do then individuals? So I said that each member state, we need to raise and do better nationally, and then we need to in Europe do better as a continent, because we are not competing against each other. Although it's nice to benchmark, we are competing against world and which is the best place to do research on data and to find the best best treatments and best algorithms and so on. But finally, the last chunk of data is not collected by the authorities, but it's collected by us individuals. So we use wearables, we use cell phones, we use smart rings nowadays, more and more digital treatments that we heard yesterday. A lot of the data is collected by us individuals. And even though we built the best public authority registers and we can share it with different countries using the European health data space schemes that's about to come. If we don't stay focused also on the new innovative data that is being out there and being collected more and more, we lose the game there. So we need to keep our eyes in quite many different areas and improve in many ways to sort of be the best continent for health data that we would like to be, and to build that in a trustworthy way is something that we all are looking forward in a few next years. So that is my presentation today. Thanks a lot.